Good afternoon, everyone. This is Akash from Strengthscape. Welcome to the webinar on Epic Accounts. Today we'll go through what is called Wiley's Epic account and understand how to administer assessments, DISC assessments, and use them for adding value to training and coaching programs. I request everyone to be on mute, please. Thank you. So as we begin, I'd like to just take a moment and tell you a bit about Strengthscape. Strengthscape is a full-service L&D company based out of headquartered in Bangalore. Our services include training and coaching, assessments, certifications for HR and L&OD professionals, image consulting, e-learning and content development, competency mapping, etc. One of our primary and perhaps initial offerings has been administering DISC assessments. We represent John Wiley & Sons in India, which is the largest creator of DISC-based assessments. Together with my co-facilitator, Deepti, I will now take you through the assessments and how to administer those assessments, DISC assessments, using the Epic sub-account. So let's begin by understanding a bit about the Epic account right at the beginning, what it does. Of course, how it can, help trainers and business coaches to administer and debrief professionals, participants on DISC, and how it can help freelancers create a sustainable business. I think that's largely what we're going to cover today. I would like all the participants to feel free to ask questions. You could use the chat for that. It'll be good to be on mute during the session and come off mute whenever we ask you to do so. So a quick question as we start. How many of you have heard about an Epic account? How many of you actually own an Epic account? And how many of you understand what DISC is about? It'll be good to just maybe put a few words on the chat and make sure that we're all on the same page. So I'll invite you to let us know, where you are in your journey with DISC and of course Epic account. All right, I see a note from there from Anil. So here's a quick note on DISC. DISC is an assessment. It's a behavioral tool. It's a behavioral model which has been converted into various assessments. It's been created by a global organization called John Wiley & Sons in the US. They are the creators and the leaders in the market for DISC assessments. Over 50 million people have taken a DISC assessment till date. More than 1 million people take an assessment every year. There are multiple types of DISC assessments. They're used for training and coaching. They're used to support recruitment process, and they're used to provide teams and groups of people with perspectives around their teamwork. So it's been used as an assessment and as a personal profile as well. So assessment in a process of recruitment, or in the process of selection, which could be for example, job rotation or for promotions. And it is also used as a personal profile, which means it is used to give behavioral debriefs to individuals. That's typically the application of DISC. There are multiple types of reports that Wiley has based on the the application. You could use a disk assessment for providing generic feedback, and you could do that through Everything Disk Workplace Report. You could use it to develop managers, which is through ED management. You could also use it for enhancing sales effectiveness and sales conversations, improving sales conversations through an Everything Disk sales report. There's a leadership development report called the Everything Disk Work of Leaders. There's one for making conflicts productive, and that's called a productive conflict report. And lastly, a 360 report based on DISC, which is called 363 for leaders. So there are various reports which have varied application. And perhaps a team report called The 5 Behaviors of a Cohesive Team, which is based on Patrick Lencioni's 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. So there's a fair bit of variety, and there's a full range of reports that you could use for enhancing effectiveness at workplace. Each of these reports, while they are individual reports, they could also be used to create what are called follow-up reports. A follow-up report is something that uses data from one or more reports and presents it in a usable format for groups of people. So for example, ED comparison report is a comparison between two people. So it could, A and B could take a workplace assessment or perhaps a management assessment individually, and then a comparison report would compare how their behaviors are similar or different, and what they could, A and B could do to work better with each other. So these are the follow-up reports, and these are derived from the main reports. There are multiple types of follow-up reports, used for various assessments. There's an Everything Disk group culture report. There is a team comparison report. There is a work of leaders group report, and there are sales supplementals. So in all, there are more than 35 or different reports which are available with Wiley, and all of them are based on DISC. DISC is the underlying behavioral model on which these reports are based. The Epic account is essentially a system. It's a website. It's a portal that allows you to administer any of these assessments and create the follow-up assessments. It's used to view reports. It's used to administer, view, print, and perhaps create follow-up reports. So Epic account is an online portal that is used by DISC administrators to generate reports. When would you need an Epic account? You would need an Epic account if you are a regular user of DISC assessments, if perhaps you use DISC in your organization for recruitment, for development, for training programs. You would need to assess people at different points in time. And it'll be good to keep all that data, all the reports in one place, and that's when you would need the Epic account. If you are doing a one-time exercise and you have more than 10 people, it might be a good idea to actually have an Epic account so that you can generate follow-up reports with the click of a button. For freelance trainers, Epic account could be a great way to build a sustainable business, because you could create sub-accounts for your customers. I'm going to speak about that in just a bit. Let me see if there are questions already. If there are, please feel free to put up the questions, and we'll try and take them up during the session. All right, now the Epic account essentially works on what is called Epic credits. Epic credits are like the currency that is used in an Epic account. So for example, if you were to go to a entertainment park, if you were to go and visit multiple rides, you could buy a coupon, and you could buy some coupons, and you could use different number of coupons for different games. And that's how Epic credits work. You could buy Epic credits from the distributor, which is perhaps Trendscape in this case. and then use those credits to buy any of the reports. Epic credits are never expire. They never expire, and which means that you could buy credits today and you could use them after 6 months or perhaps 2 years. They would always live, and they would be valid, and they would survive really in your Epic account. Epic account today, Epic credit in today's exchange rate has a value of about 280 rupees. That's about $4.3 US dollars, right? Now, how many credits do you need to release an assessment? It depends on which assessment you want to release and how many profiles you want to release. So the number of credits required equals the number of credits required per profile and the number of profiles that you may want to release, and that would give you the total number of credits that you require. It's a simple math. Yeah. You need 45 credits to create Epic account, and that's important to know, because if you create sub accounts under your account, you would need to have at least that balance of 45 credits in your Epic system. I'm sure it's going to become much clearer when I take you through the Epic system. So going back to the reports that we discussed earlier, there are different reports, and different reports require different number of credits. If you look at the main reports, the most generic report now is the Everything Disk Workplace report. It can be used for various applications like team building, communication, workplace effectiveness, interpersonal effectiveness, and it provides a good narrative around the behavioral priorities of a person, the strengths and challenges of a person. If you were to use the assessments for a more role-specific application, for example, for managers, then you would use an Everything Disk Management report, and that costs 25 credits. Management report would essentially talk about the managerial style of the respondent, how they would direct and delegate, how they would motivate and develop their team members, and perhaps how they would manage upwards. So that's what the Everything Disk Management report is about. The Everything Disk Sales report talks about the buying style and the priorities of an individual and how they buy and respond to sales conversations. So if you were to administer an Everything Disk sales assessment to your salespeople, then they would be able to understand their own selling style and also be able to decipher the buying style of the customers, and then be able to adapt their style in order to have a better rapport and a better, higher quality conversation with their customers. This again costs 25 credits. Work of Leaders is about the role of a leader. It's based on Julie Straw's research in leadership, and it's called the VAE model. That's what the report's based on: vision, alignment, and execution. Work of Leaders assessment is 25 credits. We've used that extensively for leadership teams, where each leader takes the assessment, and then together with the follow-up report, we could actually determine the leadership style or the priorities of the leadership group, which can then result in a more group-based development effort. The sixth one there is the productive conflict. Productive conflict is based on our automatic responses, how we respond differently in situations of conflict and stress, and how we could be more productive, or how we could have a better, more thought through response at times of conflict. This is the latest report by John Wiley and Sons. It's only a few months old. And if you've been using Everything Disk reports, then you would know that productive conflict is something that has really been appreciated for conflict resolution exercises and making people improve their relationships at workplace. The last one there, the 363 for leaders, is a comprehensive report. It's a 360 feedback. This report essentially focuses on the personal brand of leaders, what leaders think of themselves, how they perceive themselves, and how others perceive them. And if perhaps there is a gap between how you perceive yourself and how others perceive you, it could result in a weaker leadership brand. A 363 for leaders provides a self-assessment to the leader and an opportunity to and a system to gather ratings and feedback from your ecosystem, your direct reports, your manager, peers, and others, and see where there are potential gaps between how you perceive yourself and how others perceive you. So that's a comprehensive report. There is no limit to the number of raters you can have. It costs 50 credits per leader, and each leader could have unlimited number of raters. So these are the basic reports and the number of credits required for each. And perhaps the last one is the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team, as I was talking about it earlier. This is based on Patrick Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions of a team. It costs 35 credits per participant to buy this report. All right, and then you have the comparison report, which is actually a complementary report of 5 behaviors, cohesive comparison report, cohesive team comparison report, which is also a complementary report. A group culture report tells you about the priorities of a group and the culture, that's a dominating culture of a group, and that costs 25 credits per group. So you could potentially have participants from respondents who have taken different everything group reports. So you could individual reports. So you may have some people who've taken a everything this workplace report, and some who've taken a work of leaders report, or some who've taken a productive conflict report. As long as they've taken an everything disk report, irrespective of which one, you could assimilate the data from those reports and create an everything disk group culture report. And each of those group reports would cost 25 credits. And as I was saying, you could also create a work of leaders group report, which is 25 credits. And work of leaders group report is essentially created from work of leaders report. You will not be able to create a work of leaders group report if someone has actually taken a management profile or a workplace profile. They should have really done a work of leaders report to be able to generate work of leaders group report. Okay, I'll pause here once again and see if there are questions before I move forward. All right, great, Anil, thanks. So let's move forward then and see what we have, how the Epic account works. The Epic account works a bit like network marketing. When you have an Epic account, you not only can buy credits from those above your account, but you could also transfer credits and sell credits to those below your account. We have shown here how the network marketing like structure works here. So Strendscape is a distributor of these assessments. And let's say you work for an organization, and the organization could have, let's say you work for Microsoft, and Microsoft's the organization here. Microsoft could potentially have an Epic account which is under Strendscape account. So Strendscape as a distributor could transfer credits from Strendscape to the organization, which is Microsoft. And then Microsoft could have multiple accounts in multiple countries. So you could have, let's say, an account in India, in US, and Singapore. Now, a central buyer of the organization, which is shown as organization here, could buy credits from Strendscape and transfer them directly to, they could transfer them to India, US, or Singapore accounts. So India account is a sub account of the organization account. US is a sub-account of organization, and Singapore is a sub-account of the organization. In turn, India could have multiple sub-accounts for each city or each division or perhaps each function within the organization. Like this, you could have 5 levels of accounts placed one under the other, and that would also show how the credits would flow from one account to the other. This can be very useful when you have a centralized procurement system within the organization. It could also help you to optimize the number of credits you buy, because sometimes you may buy credits in bulk and then take advantage of the slab pricing and buy Epic credits in bulk and then distribute them region wise or function wise, depending on how your organization works. For freelance trainers and those who have a training business, this could mean that you could have multiple client Epic credits, Epic accounts under your accounts, which would also kind of help you to build customer loyalty. Every time C1 your customer wants credits, they would come to you as a freelancer and buy those credits. And then of course they could also have sub accounts under their account for different regions, just like the organization has. So we have multiple freelancers who have Epic accounts with us, and they use this to build a sustainable business based on disk profiling system. That's how it works. Let me pause here and see if there are questions this time, because this was something slightly different. Questions, please. All right. Okay, so let me just demonstrate to you how you release an assessment and how, what an Epic account looks like, what are the different functionalities of the Epic account. Feel free to come off mute and ask questions, or perhaps put them on the chat. So let's go online. There's also a web page on our website. It's called Stendscape.com/buyepics. It gives you a good commentary of the on the Epic account. It also gives you access to a demo account, which you can use to practice how to use an Epic account. So I'm now going to share the screen. All right. Let me take a moment and make sure everyone can see my screen. You will see the web page called Stendscape.com/buyepics. What you'll see here is a commentary on the Epic account and a username and password that you could use to surf and practice on a demo Epic account. All right, so let's go over to the Epic account, see if we could actually practice here. So the username here is demo account and the password is Stendscape with a capital S. And I'm now getting into an Epic system. So what you see here on this is that there are, of course, a few news items. You could customize your page. It's a page that allows you to track various things around the Epic system. What you would see on the top in the demo account is a credit balance of 15, which means that we currently have 15 credits in this system. So going by the formula that I gave earlier, number of disk profiles into the number of credits you require per profile, that's what we would use. So with 15 credits, we could perhaps release one workplace assessment. An assessment is released using as a link through the email system, and we'll try and show you that how that works now. Okay, so let's go back. I'm going to manage reports, and I see that there are various things that it allows me to do. It could help me to create or issue a new access code, edit some existing reports, view and print some completed reports. It could also help me to resend the login if for some reason participant or respondent has deleted the link or is not able to find the link in their emails. You could resend the link to the participants. Remember that the link never expires. You could reclaim the link at some point in time, at any point in time. But otherwise, the link never expires. You could also delete reports, and then you can also download some of the templates that are required. So let's try and issue an access code and see how we use Epic account to administer assessments. So I've gone to the new report, and I see that there are 3 drop downs here. The first drop down talks about the product family. Wiley system is a comprehensive system that allows you to administer more than 35 different types of reports. So I'm going to choose everything disk, which is what I'm trying to administer for a respondent now. That's an everything disk report, and within everything disk, as you would see, there are multiple options that I have. I could release any of these reports. Since I have only 15 credits in my system, I could perhaps release one workplace report. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to release an everything disk workplace report, which is available in English for me. All right. So now I've come to this page, which allows me to select what chapters I would like to see in the report, in the narrative that I get once the respondent completes the assessment. As you can see here, everything disk workplace profile, it's English, number of credits is 15. My balance is still 15 because I've not yet released the assessment. And here are the 4 chapters. I could choose to undo a certain chapter if I require a couple of pages of a report, a quick cheat sheet for a person, and I do not wish to give a comprehensive 20+ page of a report. I could actually uncheck these as I release the assessment. There is also something called My Everything Disk option. My Everything Disk is like a Facebook account or like a social media account, where I could give rights to others to view my report. So I could give rights to, for example, say Ram, and say, Ram, you can see my report and you can know me better. And if I give access to Ram and Ram accepts that, then I would also be able to see Ram's report. And we both will be able to compare how our behavioral priorities are different, what it would take for us to work better or have more effective conversations with each other. That's what a My Everything Disk option creates. It creates a network of people where they can system where they can exchange their reports and learn how to be more effective with each other. I'm not going to tick that now because this would really be effective if we were doing an assessment for a group rather than just one person. And I'll press the next button. All right. So now I see that I have a folder here. It's very important to create and save the profiles in different folders. So let's say I'm doing this for a finance team, and I can create a folder, say, finance team of Bangalore. So I'm going to save that. And I'm also going to create a subfolder because I might release assessments to finance team multiple times. So it might be good to actually put the date here and create a folder. So now all the assessments, as I release them, would come back and sit in these folders. I'll be able to search for assessments using these folders or subfolders. So it's very important to organize this right from the beginning and ensure that your assessments are properly bifurcated and properly categorized and stored. When you're releasing an assessment, you could choose to um, have the email delivered immediately or perhaps at a particular date and time. So you could, the moment I press this button on this date, I could actually choose the date on which the assessment could be um, released, the date on which the participants would receive the link, and perhaps even the time. I could also decide when a reminder should go to them. So if not completed, I would like the reminder to go on 21st of June and at a particular time. And I could choose perhaps this, right here. So let me see how I release this. I'm going to release the assessment for one of my colleagues. His name is Sham Adhikari. And I could then decide whether Sham should be able to view the report when he completes the assessment. Assessment is essentially 70 plus questions, multiple choice. When I complete that questionnaire, I should be able to get a narrative that explains and that describes what my strengths and challenges are. And that report could be viewed by the respondent. You could give the rights for them to download the report immediately after completing or not, using the view report yes or no option. Remember that if you're doing multiple reports, if you're releasing multiple links, it may be cumbersome to type the email IDs here. And in that case, you could go to the import from Excel button. You could download the Excel sheet here, in which you would want to then fill up the email IDs and then upload it. Import the Excel sheet and upload that Excel sheet, and you will have all the names here already. So I could release multiple assessments using the Excel sheet, or I could type in the email IDs here. So I'm going to now release an assessment for Sham. So what I see here is that it has taken the email ID and it is telling me that if I assign the access code, then total 15 credits would be deducted from my account, which also has a balance of only 15 credits. So let's do that. Let's release the assessment. I need to confirm once if it is okay. I'll press OK to continue. Now what I see here is that it's asking me if I would like to send a customized email to the respondent along with the link to take the assessment. It's usually a good practice to send a customized email. We have various email formats that you could choose from, or you could refine and customize for your requirements. It's good to tell the participants, respondents, how much time they have, by when should they complete the assessment, and the fact that this assessment is non-judgmental. DISC is non-judgmental assessment. It essentially tells you what your strengths and challenges are. It doesn't tell you whether those strengths are good or not. That's situational. Those who have certified as DISC trainers would I'm sure appreciate that conceptually. So let's go ahead and release the assessment. I'm going to press OK so that it takes me to a window where I can write or put up a customized email. So this is where I am. I can put a customized subject here, and I could also write an email telling Sham about the assessments that they would release here. Telling Sham about what to do with the link. Right. There is something called personal options right on the top where you can manage these customized messages. I'm going to take you through that in a bit. You could pre-store some of the, there are some formats for these emails which are already available here. I could choose to use any of those, or I could create email templates and store them in the Epic account already. So once I'm done with the email, I'm going to press OK and see what happens. Okay, so the custom subject here cannot be blank, so I'm going to use the default subject, and then I'm going to release the assessment. So what I see here is that my credit balance is now 0. I have used up 15 credits that I had, and a link has been sent to Shyam Adhikari. Access code created an email queued for delivery. Typically, it is within a few seconds or perhaps in 1 or 2 minutes that you would be able to see this, yeah? Receive the email. So that's what it takes to release an assessment. If you have multiple reports, then you could use some of the functionalities here to download these reports. I would like to maybe take a minute and show you how to generate reports for download. And if you see under batch functions, I could download multiple reports at the same time. So remember, we created one folder called finance team folder, and I could go to that folder and I can download all the reports together in one zip file using the generate reports functionality. So I've gone to the generate reports functionality. It gives me a window where I could look for the right folder. I could see which assessment I want to generate. Perhaps the workplace, the folder was finance team, and I would like to see all the completed reports. Let's say I want to see 25 results per page, and I could search now. Perhaps we do not have a report in this folder, so we're not going to see a result. But if we did, then we would be able to see the results here, tick those reports, and download in one go. So that's how you generate the reports. It's a matter of seconds in which you can actually generate all the reports. I could also unassign or reclaim the credits that have been issued. So perhaps I've released an assessment for Shyam, but I see that Shyam is not going to take the assessment. So I could get those 15 credits back by going through the manage your report functionality. Okay, so let's go over to the next screen. I'm going to show you how to unassign access code. I've come to the page which is unassign access codes. I can see that I'll be able to search here for the pending reports. The pending report is for a person called Shyam. I'm going to search that. I see that Shyam Adhikari's reports here. I'm going to unassign this. All right. And now I see that I've unassigned this. So I've got 15 credits back in my system. Yeah. So that's an important functionality as well. I'm going to take you all through some basic functionalities, the important ones, and then of course you have access to the demo account, and you can all surf through it and see what are the different functionalities. It's very intuitive. One of the very useful functions here is of customizing the face cover of the report. What you would see is that if you're a freelancer or an organization that like to brand the reports with your logo, then you could go to personal options, go under edit account information. You could the face of the report, you could change the name and the address that appears, and perhaps even the logo. You can upload the logo of your organization here and customize that. Once you do that, you'll be able to see how the report cover looks by going over to this link, which is sample report cover. And I see that I can see my company's name and address here. I could of course customize this And that would be good from the branding perspective, not just for corporates, but also for freelancers who would like to brand the report with, who would like to promote their brand when they're doing assessments for their customers. That's again an important functionality. Once you have a number of reports available, you could go back to issuing access codes. You can use everything disk drop down and then create a group culture report. So again, just like we released the assessment here, we follow a few steps to choose the people you need for a group report, and mark them, and then create a group everything disk group report. Very intuitive way of generating follow-up reports. That's what the Epic account will do. Okay, so let me take a break now. Let me take, let me pause here now and see if there are questions. I have given you a demo site. I've also shown you how to release an assessment. I would invite all of you to use the link here to practice a bit, and feel free to, ask us questions during the course of the month. And of course, if you are an Epic user, you have an Epic account, you could always seek our support when you're releasing assessments, especially the first time. If you're not an Epic account holder and you do wish to administer DISC assessments, remember that you don't need to be a DISC certified trainer to own an Epic account. An Epic account can be owned by anyone. It's the debrief of a report that we would typically say that you should have a certification to be able to do that. Okay, so I'm back to the presentation now. So I see one question: do all those who have a DISC certification have an Epic account? It depends really. No, you need not have an Epic account if you're DISC certified. It is something that you buy or not buy with your certification. So there are combo packs where you could register for a DISC certification with an Epic account, or you could register for a DISC certification without an Epic account. So you could choose to do your certification and then buy an Epic account later. Commercially though, it's usually good for a person to buy the Epic account along with the certification, because then it just costs a bit less. All right. So I'm just going back to the presentation now. I'm going to the last page of the presentation. We will also tell you about the certifications. We do have two certifications that are coming up. One is an instructional certification, which is for trainers and HR professionals, and another one which is a DISC certification, which is the face-to-face program in Bangalore. I would invite you to use the links here and use the coupon here to actually register for those programs. So if, Anil, of course, you have an Epic account that you've not used till now, not to worry, the Epic account would remain with you forever. And if you were to buy credits, they would be transferred into your Epic account, and they would also be valid forever. So Epic account is not something that expires, or the credits do not expire either. We have many organization customers who at the end of the year use their unutilized budgets to buy credits, and because those credits can be used in the course of time, they would use that to buy credits in bulk and then use them over the next few months and years. So there are multiple slab discounts that we have via Wiley. So if you do buy credits in bulk and then distribute those credits to your customers through your Epic account or otherwise, there are savings. And I would like to perhaps you to get in touch with us when you have any such requirement, and then we can see what best we can do to provide the maximum advantage to you. Corporates and freelancers essentially have the same Epic account system. It's a question of volumes, and Wiley does provide discounts, based on volumes, and we could work that out for you. I hope that answers your question, Anil. Okay, so I'm now going to see if there are any more questions, and if not, I'm going to then conclude the webinar. Once again, 2 certifications coming up. Instructional design certification starting 12th June, that's a virtual program. And a DIS certification for trainers in HR professionals, which is in person in Bangalore. That's on 15th and 16th of June. You could use the coupon code here, which is SAVE5, on the link to actually register for those 2 programs as well. And if you are a DISC certified trainer and you do not have an Epic account yet, then feel free to reach out to us, and we should be able to provide you with the same. Okay, so that's it. That's it from us. Please let us know if you have any questions. Thanks so much, Namrata. You know, this is a very focused webinar, which is perhaps of interest to those who understand DISC or are looking at understanding DISC and administering. So we weren't really expecting a very large group. I'm happy that we have a fairly good session, a fairly good group here. Typically more generic webinar topics will attract, maybe 50 or more people. So do keep tuned in and visit our website to see the list of upcoming webinars, and we'll be happy to help you with any more information on this. Thank you very much, everyone.
21. Thank you, Akash.